be more of people coming in. So I think we'll start now. So welcome to Brittany. We're excited that to do a site inspection of a couple of great properties and start to let you guys get a sense of Brittany. And if you would, just in the chat, if you have any questions throughout the chat, just use that chat button and we'll answer as we're going through the webinar. The weather in Brittany today is in the upper 50s, sun and clouds, kind of like the northeast of, kind of like New York, where I am, though you wouldn't know that that's where I am. The scene behind me is Brittany. I've been really lucky in that the last, I don't know, 30 years plus, I've spent parts of my summer in Brittany visiting with my sister. My sister lives in Paris, and she and her family have gone to Brittany every summer, and they spend the month of August there when the kids were little. It was just tons of fun. And when they got older and they left Paris and they had their own kids, it was a point where everybody would come together. This was a picture of me, not this past summer, because we were all stuck in COVID, but the summer before. My brother-in-law has a small boat, and he loves to fish for lobsters. And so he has a dozen lobster pots that he goes in, and we're probably on the water every day hunting for lobsters. And we'll come back with, if we're lucky, sometimes a dozen of them, sometimes half a dozen of them, sometimes none, because we have to throw them back because they're too small. The weathers are beautiful in the summer. The water's a little cool, but it is an incredibly beautiful, beautiful place. And I'm really thrilled to be sharing it with you, you guys. So I wanted to give you a little bit of history. And as I said, it's a place that is dear to my heart. And so after having been there so many times, it's just been a great thing that we've now made connections with friends in Brittany that we'll introduce you to. We have a wonderful DMC that we work with, and she's going to take us around to do some visits. And this is one of 3 webinars that we're going to do for Brittany, because it's a big region and it's got a lot of different things to see, and it would be a shame to just do it to do in one sweeping 1-hour overview. I think it's impossible. A little bit of history, because I'm just a history geek. We as humans settled in Brittany what's probably around 35,000 years ago, long, long time ago. Some of the oldest remnants of human civilization that man has built are in Brittany for us to see. It was once part of the Roman Republic. Julius Caesar controlled it in 51 BC. And they built roads and they built aqueducts, and you'll still see remnants of Roman civilization as you visit the region. At the end of the century, at the end of the 4th century, I should say, the Celts started to come from England and Wales into Brittany. And it was a country that was not part of France. It was actually its own country. And it was called Amorica, Amorica, that was named that by the Romans. And it had, control was coming from all different places. Even the Vikings in the 10th century had come into Brittany and had ruled it for several years. And then what happened was that France and Brittany were actually governed as if they were 2 completely different countries until around 1789, when it was absorbed into France. And even today, the language of Breton is spoken by almost 250,000 people that live in Brittany, and they've got their own newspaper. In Breton, they've got a TV station, a radio station. So the language is alive. What I want to do now is just pass you over to Johnny and let Johnny will give us some practical information on how to get in and out of the region. So Johnny,
yeah,
go for it.
I'm running our PowerPoint, starting with the PowerPoint presentation. So you can have, and I will suggest you to put on speaker view, so you have really the screen, the entire screen in front of you. Okay, so we are in Brittany, and here the Breton language, Degemer mat braids mean welcome to Brittany. Now this is the first one, and let's have a overview of Brittany. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this fantastic location, this region of France, and just here you have an idea of where we are going today. France, that is located in Europe, and then you have this is the portion that we are visiting, and those are the main cities and the main location of Brittany. You can read here very quickly some characteristic of the destination. There is three main entrance in Bretagne, which is Rennes, Brest, and Nantes. And those 3 points of entry can be reached from Paris, from the Charles de Gaulle airport, from the Montparnasse station, or by car. It's about 4-hour driving from Paris. The TGV, the fast train, is just an hour and a half. And there are some direct flights from Paris, from Paris to the destination. The Normandy and the Loire Valley and Tours is also very close. Is 2 hours. 2 hours times to get there. And then you have Bordeaux also that can be reached from and to Rennes. Also,
Johnny, just so I can add, I mean, from a practical perspective, I've done it every which way. I've flown, I've taken the train, I've driven. It's really easy to get to. If you take the train, the TGV is just a unbelievably fast way and relaxing way to get to the region. Just so you know.
And now I want to introduce you our local partner, Marie Oisel, that can take over and really talk about the destination much more in depth. Okay?
Thank you, Jenny, and hi everyone. I'm pleased to be with you today and get the chance to introduce my region. I'm based in Rennes, so I am speaking from Rennes now. And to start with, I will introduce a few highlights about the region and the destination, starting with its unique history. Tom has spoken about it already, and it's true that Brittany is pretty special. It became French at the French Revolution, so a bit more than 200 years ago, which is pretty recent. And this union to the French kingdom resulted from a long process that started at the end of the 15th century with the wedding of the French king to the Brittany Duchess. It was very important for the French kingdom to take over control over the region because of its strategic location, but also for its agriculture, because we are the first producing region in France, and also its wealth in terms of foreign trade, maritime trade. So it was a long process because the Brittany people have a strong character, and they did not want to give away the lands so easily to the French people. And indeed, they had their own culture, their own traditions, their own language and money, which were different from the French. So this culture, these traditions, they are still alive in the region. And this is something that we are willing to share with you and your clients. And when we speak about Brittany, we also speak about the wild nature. Actually, Brittany, most of the territory is protected, whether we speak about the inlands or the seaside. We have beautiful inlands, including the famous Brocéliande forest with the legend of the King Arthur. And there is also a beautiful regional park in the western part of Brittany, and we call them our little highlands. It's true that it looks like the Scottish highlands with smaller hills. On top of that, we have beautiful seaside landscapes. And the fact is that every 50 kilometers, the landscapes totally change. So we never get bored of the seaside, but always astonished. And there are many ways of discovering this wild nature, guided walk or e-bike ride, private cruises. There are many experiences to enjoy. Brittany is also a gastronomic destination. It's not recognized as such, but it is. We are the first producing region, and we have iconic, our own gastronomic icons. The oysters, of course, from Cancale, but not only. The lobster that Tom is used to fish along the pink granite coast. We have also scallops. That's for the seaside part. Of course, we have the crepes and galettes that we usually have with a glass of cider. The salted butter, and the salt marsh lambs from the Mont Saint-Michel area as well. Totally, we have 44 Michelin star restaurants in Brittany only. So no matter where you go, you should be able to try one of them. On top of that, we could help you to organize private visits, private tastings, immersive experiences, and cooking class to discover the local gastronomy. We also have lots of gardens and beautiful castles. Because we had this strategic position, we had to defend, my ancestors had to defend themselves from the invasions, from the French, the English. So there are lots of castles to discover in beautiful spots as the one that you can see on the picture. And many of them have beautiful gardens. Some of them are part of the most beautiful gardens of the world level. That's it for the highlights. So we are going today to introduce a 7-day self-drive itinerary from Paris within the Brittany destination. Brittany is really a big region, so we cannot cover it all within 1 week. So this itinerary has been created to allow the clients to discover the most famous spots, the most iconic destinations, through nice experiences, a mix of well-being, gastronomic, private cruises. We have made a nice selection of hotels as well, 4 and 5 stars boutique hotel on the seaside. We are going to visit 2 of them today. And this itinerary can be enjoyed as a couple, a family, small groups of individuals. We can tailor-made it for your clients. So now Gianni is going to play a short video.
Yeah, a short video, 1-minute video of the location that we visit along the trip.
And now I'm going to introduce the itinerary, the day by day. The first 2 days are going to be spent in Rennes and the Emerald Coast in the north. So the next webinar will be introducing this area further in details, Rennes, the Emerald Coast, and the Pink Granite Coast. So yes, we spend these 2 first days in Rennes and the Emerald Coast. The Emerald Coast is where Saint-Malo, Dinard, and the Mont Saint-Michel are located. So day 1, we invite the travelers to self-drive from Paris to Brittany. It's about 4 hours drive. They are going to reach Rennes, that we are going to visit in a few minutes. We would like them to try the iconic galette in our selection, in our selected restaurants in Rennes, before taking part in a private guided visit of the city to discover the history of Brittany. After the visit, they are going to drive north to the Emerald Coast, and they can make a short stopover in the middle of the way in Dinan, which is a very charming medieval city and with a small harbor. It's nice to have a walk there before reaching the Emerald Coast. Ah, sorry, I was not over with the first slide. Thank you. So they are going to check in for 2 nights along the Emerald Coast, either in Saint-Malo or Dinard, which is a pretty chic seaside city, where John Kerry and his family have their own property. We suggest 2 hotels, a 5-star boutique hotel that we are going to visit as well today, or Relais and Château. During the second day, we invite the guests to discover Saint-Malo during a private guided visit before having lunch in Cancale, which is another charming harbor famous for its premium oysters that they are going to discover later on during a private visit of the oyster parks with our expert guide. They are going to taste them fresh. An option to have in the end of the afternoon is to discover Mont Saint-Michel Abbey during a VIP visit. We have access to the Abbey out of public hours. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And after the visit, we can also organize a private gastronomic cocktail on the outdoor terrace of the Abbey. If they don't choose this option, well, they can try one of the 1 or 2-star Michelin restaurants in the area. So that's for the first 2 days. Third day, they are going to head a bit west to reach the Pink Granite Coast. But on the way, in the morning, we suggest them to take a road trip that we will prepare for them, just to discover a few beautiful spots. So they can reach the Pink Granite Coast, passing by the coastline, discovering the castle that we can see on the first picture, for instance. They can have a stopover in the Scallop Harbor, a very tiny harbor, which is really charming. And in the afternoon, they can take a short e-bike ride that is really easy to take, even for the kids or the elderly people. In a Grand Site de France, it's a really wild area made of capes. There is no construction at all. It's an amazing landscape to discover with the bike, before taking the car again to reach the Pink Granite Coast. The Pink Granite Coast is different. It's very poetic and romantic. It's made of huge granite blocks that have a pink color. They have been shaped by the sea and the wind for millions of years. So it's a totally different scenery than the Emerald Coast. They can check in for 2 nights at le Manoir de Relais, le Manoir de Lanquerelec, that we are going to visit during the next webinar. The day number 4, so second day on the Pink Granite Coast, we would like them to discover the coast from the sea. We would take them through a private cruise in a paradisiac archipelago that you can see on the third picture. It's Brea Archipelago. In the morning, they can embark on a traditional sailing boat with the captain and his team to sail within the archipelago before having a gastronomic lunch on board and disembarking on Brea Island. It's the largest island, but it's pretty small. It's just a few kilometers length. There is no car on the island, so it's very peaceful. We call it the flowery island because it benefits from a special climate, which allows many kinds of flower to blow from spring to autumn. It's very beautiful. And there are lots of small houses over this island. So there are different ways to discover with a guide during a walk, or just e-bike ride once again, or just take it easy and relax before coming back to the hotel and try their 1-star Michelin restaurant or a gastronomic table.
Marie,
nearby.
how large is the boat that they can go on?
There are different sizes. One can accommodate about 10 people. The second one is the longest one in Brittany. It's an experience in itself, and it can accommodate 50 people easily. So we have different sizes depending on the budget and the experience that the clients want to have.
Thank you.
And during the last day along the Pink Granite Coast, we invite the travelers to discover the most beautiful spots of the coast with our guide during a private guided walk. And they are going to discover this lighthouse that you can see on the second picture, which is probably the icon of the Pink Granite Coast. So it's a nice walk before having lunch in a restaurant on a beach and driving south to the Morbihan Gulf, where they are going to check in for 2 more nights at Sofitel Thalassotherapy Resort. It's a 5-star hotel. last 2 days in the Morbihan Gulf in the south. The Gulf is a special phenomenon. It's an inner sea. So there are lots of islands within that inner sea, and there is a small corridor reaching the Atlantic coast. The vegetation is different. It's made of palm trees. It's a bit more 1,000 atmosphere. There are a few degrees more than the northern coast as well. So during the day number 6, we invite the travelers to discover Belle-Île Island. Belle-Île has been elected as one of the most beautiful destinations to discover by the Times Magazine, and I agree. It's well visiting, and it has been immortalized by Claude Monet during the 19th century. So once again, there are different ways of discovering Belle-Île, either spending the full day there. We can book a nice restaurant with an amazing view, or they can try a thalassotherapy to enjoy the seaweed and seawater benefits, relaxing. Or we can organize a private cruise that would be totally different from the one that they had along the Pink Granite Coast, because in that area we could rent a yacht, which is more contemporary. It doesn't move. It's safer for the people who are not used to sail. And with that boat, they could discover the Gulf, have stopovers at the most beautiful spots of Belle-Île, disembark for lunch. We could rent some jet ski. They could fish. There are many things to do with that boat. They could spend the night at Sofitel and have dinner there. And the last day, so day number 7, either they can decide to try thalassotherapy if they did not do it before at the hotel, or they can go to Karnak. Karnak is one of the oldest prehistorical sites in Europe. It's pretty impressive. There is Karnak and another site, Loc Mariaker, just right next to it. These sites, they have been built more than 5,000 years ago by a civilization that we still don't really understand. But what they built is impressive because at that time they did not have the tools that we have today. So it's necessary to have a guide to understand the sites, but it's very interesting. And it's different from the other experiences that we propose during the previous days. After the visit, they can have lunch in Vannes, which is a very charming harbor. There are lots of charming harbors in Brittany. And that would be the last lunch in Brittany before heading back to Paris. It would take about 5 hours to drive back to the capital.
Let me add a little thing here regarding the way of transportation. Obviously, here we have proposed self-driving, but obviously, if your client doesn't want to self-drive, they can reach the area by TGV, as we said in the beginning, and then we can provide locally full private driver that can drive them around in the area, or even they can start with a private driver from Paris. So this is just an example, but we can obviously customize the itinerary in the way your client would like to travel. Okay, go ahead, Marie.
That was the end of the itinerary introduction. So now we are going to take a walk in Rennes for a few minutes. And I just wanted to let you know that Rennes is currently, all the, of course, bars and restaurants are closed and it's under renovation. So it doesn't exactly look like how it should. But you could only have a good feeling while coming to Rennes in a few months.
Yes, and we just videoed this one just yesterday with Marie. That was our expert guide. There we go.
Rennes is the capital of Brittany, as you know now. There are approximately 215,000 inhabitants in the city. It's very dynamic and has been elected as one of the best French cities to live in 2018. Indeed, the city center is charming. It's not too big nor too small, with different atmospheres. It has a great location as well, just an hour and a half from Paris by train and 45 minutes from the sea.
There are many headquarters, and it's also famous for being a student city, very lively. Rennes is part of the Fab City project, and in this respect, it's planning to become self-sufficient by 2054. On the right side is the Ile River, which splits the city center into two parts. The north, on the right side, the main historical shopping and coffee area. It's also where is located the beautiful Tabor Park with its impressive rose bushes collection. And on the left side, the south, where is located the train station. Going to start the visit from the Old Town area that I am approaching now. The city center is currently turning into a pedestrian area where only city buses will be able to run. It's usually full of bars and restaurants, outdoor terraces, but these days, because of COVID and a huge renovation program, you will see that there are lots of cars parked in the city, which is obviously less charming, but the city will be brandly renovated by summer, perfect timing to welcome back the American citizens. And we are entering Rennes by the old town, Rue du Chapitre or Chapitre Street. It's a street that is nice to enjoy for lunch or dinner, and on the left side is one of my favorite crêperies in town. It's La Saint-Georges. They have a plate Michelin. Inside, the decoration is very nice. It's a mix between tradition and modernity. This street is also famous for its timbered houses. They are typical from the Middle Ages, and from this old area of the city, there used to be, most of the houses used to be timbered ones, but there's been a very huge fire during the 17th century, and this is why now there are only about 300 timbered villas left in Rennes. Now I'm taking you to Rennes Cathedral. It's another important spot in the city, and just before, on the right hand side, you can see this bar and restaurant. Usually it's very nice when this tree has leaves and flowers. There are lots of tables outside and people just enjoying the sun in a quiet ambience. And right behind is Rennes Cathedral. It is in this cathedral that the King of France, Charles VIII, got married to the Brittany Duchess, Anne de Bretagne, at the end of the 15th century. And this wedding really marked down the beginning of the unification process between Brittany and the French kingdom. A very long process that ended up with the French Revolution at the end of the 18th century. We are going to speak about that a little bit later on at the Parliament of Brittany. Another nice thing to see in the area is the Porte Mordelaise, or the Mordelaise doors. They are being renewed at the moment, like many different monuments in the city. But these big doors, medieval doors, were actually the entrance to the city during the Middle Ages. So Rennes was much smaller than it is now, and it was a fortified place. Right next to the Mordelaise gates lies the Lys Square, one of the most famous ones as it holds the open sky marketplace every Saturday morning. So we are soon going to see it on our right, but the marketplace starts from here. So you have to imagine that during that event, all this area is car-free and totally dedicated to the market, which is the second largest one in France. There's a covered area on my right, this orange building, and a second covered one just in front of us. So it's a tradition Saturday morning to go to the marketplace, and we really recommend your clients to discover it with one of our chefs who will allow them to taste all the local delicacies and buy groceries before taking part in a private cooking class. The beautiful villas on the left side used to belong to the members of the Parliament of Brittany, and they are facing the Lys Square. The Lys name does not come from the Lys flower. Indeed, it comes from the name of the fight that the knights were having on this square right behind the covered area during the Middle Ages. So the square is now full of cars. As I explained earlier, it's because of the renovation process, but usually this is totally a pedestrian square And soon we are going to have a nice rooftop on the right-hand side building that is being renewed. So all the way here we are passing the Lys Square, and it's a smaller square that is usually surrounded by bars and restaurants. So pedestrian area with lots of outdoor seats and tables, as it's usually the case everywhere in the city. On the left you can see La Grappe in red. It's my favorite wine bar. Inside it's very nice. It's very old style, and the owner has a strong character. Now I'm taking you to another square, Sainte-Anne Square. It's nice to see it because you have really old houses on the left. And right next to it is this building that has been renewed recently. It used to be a monastery. Now it's our city congress for meetings and exhibitions. We have the Sainte-Anne Church as well, and other timbered houses on the right side. Our next stop will be the City Hall Square. It's a large square at the middle of the city. It's pedestrian, and there is always some music or live dancers. It's very lively. In summertime, there are lots of transats. There are two buildings. On the right-hand side is the City Hall, and right in front of it is the opera. They are facing each other, and they have this kind of a Parisian style in terms of architecture because they have been designed by Parisian architects, and this is related to the history of the Parliament of Brittany that is right next to, right behind the opera, and where I am taking you now. We are now in front of the Brittany Parliament.
Oh, sorry, something happened. Hold on.
Next stop will be the City Hall Square. It's a large square at the middle of the city. It's pedestrian, and there is always some music or live dancers. It's very lively. In summertime, there are lots of transats. There are two buildings. On the right-hand side is the City Hall, and right in front of it is the opera. They are facing each other, and they have this kind of a Parisian style in terms of architecture because they have been designed by Parisian architects, and this is related to the history of the Parliament of Brittany that is right next to, right behind the opera, and where I am taking you now. We are now in front of the Brittany Parliament. It's the main symbol of the unification process that started at the end of the 16th century between Brittany and the French Kingdom. It's interesting to see this building because they are strong symbols of this union. At the top of the building and on the walls, we can see together the symbol of the Brittany Kingdom, the ermine flower, associated to the symbol of the French Kingdom, the lys flower. So it was a strong sign from the French king that was sent to the Brittany people to say, okay, now we are just one. And what is interesting in terms of architecture in this area is that the King of France sent his architects to Rennes to build this parliament, the surrounding buildings, as well as the opera and the city hall. These architects took part later on in the construction of the Versailles Palace and Luxembourg Palace, which is why we have this Parisian architecture style at the heart of Rennes City. City center, I hope you liked it. It's been a pleasure for me. Sorry, I'm missing some air. I'm pregnant, and with the mask it was not that easy. So now, let's go back to the webinar.
Okay, now we will be visiting. We're going to make a site inspection of one of the two hotels. This one is the Balthazar, located in Rennes. And the second one will be a five-star hotel, the Castelbrac, which is outside Rennes. Okay, let's go visit the hotel.
Welcome to Le Balthazar, a five-star hotel located at the heart of Rennes City. It has 54 rooms and 2 junior suites, a gastronomic restaurant, a wellness area, and a nice patio to enjoy with the sun.
Welcome to Balthazar Hotel.
Hi Adrien. Today Adrien is going to give us the virtual tour of Le Balthazar. Merci.
So I can show you the lobby if you like.
Yes, sure.
So we have a fireplace where all of the guests can have a drink if they want, coffee during the afternoon or in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
I can show you the bar as well.
It's lighten up the whole year.
Of course, yes. Maybe not during summer, but during summer you can enjoy a drink in the garden of the hotel.
Yes.
So we have a really nice choice of wines as well.
Champagne.
So this is the bar which is closed at the moment, but normally open 24 hours to serve our guests. Open as well for the outside guests.
Okay. And you have a bartender doing nice cocktails.
Exactly. We have a really nice cocktails menu. Okay. And champagne and wine menu as well. So at the Balthazar you can also enjoy drinks outside if you like.
Yes.
It's a really peaceful place.
Today we are lucky it's sunny. So this was the garden that we saw from the room.
Exactly, from the superior room.
Nice decoration. So when was created the Balthazar?
In 2014,
Okay.
opened 6 years ago. A bit more, 7 years ago.
And the decoration was made by the owner.
Exactly, by Mrs. Miller. And I can show you as well the restaurant if you like. Welcome to La Table de Balthazar, which is our restaurant for guests and outside guests as well. You can welcome normally 50 guests.
It's open for lunch and dinner.
It's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And you have a label by Michelin Guide, no?
We have 2 forks and 1 plate.
Okay. Treatments.
So welcome to the wellness area of the Balthazar Hotel. This is the jacuzzi and swimming pool. You can also find the sauna. Just here. Welcome to the superior room, which is the second category of the hotel. So they all of the side of the garden of the hotel. So the superior room is 26 square meters. They don't have a bathroom, but they all have an Italian shower.
Okay.
It's also a queen size bed. And then they all have the view of the patio of the hotel.
And in terms of decoration, all the rooms have the same, more or
No,
less?
They all different.
Okay.
All the walls are different. All the configuration is different as well.
Okay.
I can show you the bathroom if you like.
Thank you.
So this is also the safe box
Okay.
and the cabin. And the bathroom is just here with an Italian shower on your left side.
And so all the rooms have separated toilets?
Yes,
Okay.
all of them. I can show you if you like.
Okay.
And we also have a minibar, which is empty at the moment, unfortunately, because of the COVID. But normally there is soft drink, coffee machine, tea, and you have cup just here.
And in terms of COVID rules, sanitary protocols, so now you are serving the breakfast and dinner in the bedrooms?
Exactly. All of the food and beverage are served in room dining.
Okay.
So I have a full menu room service for the evening, which is 24 hours. And the breakfast starts from 7 to 10:30 during the week, and from 7:30 to 11 during the weekend.
Okay. And last question about the communicating rooms of the hotel. How many do you have?
We have 4 communicated rooms, which are all superior rooms.
Okay. So we can have 4 families at once.
We can have 4 families, exactly. That's the best way to have family, because all of the deluxe room and junior suite are too small to accommodate and welcome one extra guest.
Perfect. Thank you.
So this is a junior suite, which is 35 square meters with a terrace of 25 square meters. Please come in.
Thank you.
So there is the bathroom here with Italian shower and bathtub.
Okay.
This junior suite is only for 2 people, 2 guests. This is the great queen size bed. And I can show you, if you like, the terrace, which is 25 square meters
Yes.
on the 5th floor with the view of the city.
Nice.
So you can have your lunch, your dinner, and your breakfast on the terrace as well.
We can see Rennes Cathedral.
Exactly.
And there are some beds. Nice. Thank you.
And after the Balthazar, Marie-Iselle, you can go ahead.
Yes, the Balthazar is in Rennes, and now we are going to head north to the Emerald Coast, and we are going to visit the Castelbrac, which is a 5-star boutique hotel on the seaside. These 2 hotels have a contemporary style, but during the next webinars, we will visit more classical relais and chateau ones, and more destination visits as well.
I'm here, one day I'm not. Delaying our fears, we're played with so fragile and stiff. My lips on yours. Let flyers wheels slippery time. It's just struggles. Sweet dance inside, love makes trouble. My mind's drifting in control. One star's command just before Tuesday. The sky.
And now we're gonna really visit the hotel inside with our Mario Isel as a guide with the chef de réception of the hotel.
Welcome to the Castelbrac. On your right side is the access to the parking when you arrive by car. But I also wanted to show you the beautiful surroundings of the hotel that is surrounded by the sea. The bar, the restaurant, all the rooms have a beautiful sea view. So this is the pedestrian entrance. We are just above the bar, the
What happened? Sorry, I don't know what happened. Oh,
Don't worry, we won't fire our technician.
Yeah, and in
side, Dina. I mean, behind the palm tree.
we are entering Castelbrac now. Bonjour Léa. Thank you. So Léa is going to give us the private tour of Le Castelbrac today. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. This way, so you can go on with the visit. So you are here in Salon Charcot. It is named after Jean-Baptiste Charcot, who was an explorer in the Antarctica. It's actually why you have the map right here, and in red, this is the route he took. This is also why you'll have the penguins here. It's because this is what the subject of his studies.
Okay.
This room was also his office while he was while his time here at the Muséum d'Histoire Naturelle in the 30s. And this is actually the last place he ever lived in. Unfortunately, during his trip to the Antarctica, his ship sank.
Okay.
So you have over here a lovely view of the Saint-Malo Bay, and then on this side, the Baie du Prieuré. So it's a very nice spot if you just want to have a cocktail or read a book once everything settles down with COVID. Going into the second part of the visit, so you have here the restoration part, so the food and beverage part. Right down those stairs, you have the Michelin star restaurant, which is called Le Pourquoi Pas, after the boat that was Jean-Baptiste Charcot's. And over here on this floor, you have the bar, the aquarium, which is named because it used to be an aquarium until 1992. And so all those sitting parts here used to be the fish tanks.
Okay. Pretty interesting. Unusual.
The mosaic floor is actually from the era, and it was restored.
Okay.
And it actually served as a big inspiration for the interior design choices that Sandra Benamou did when she was working on the project to restore the hotel. So you'll see in the architecture and art design that the sea is a huge part of the choices that were made. So you'll have, whether it's in the color palette with the blues and the greens, or whether it's in the prints. So you'll have right here, you can see these are fish, the table there, it looks like fish scales. So, and you can also see that in all the rooms, which are all different actually in the hotel.
Okay.
From here to Le Pourquoi Pas, which is our Michelin star restaurant. It is closed at the moment, but this gives you an idea of the space that you'll be having dinner in, hopefully after COVID and everything opens again. And this is also the breakfast room, You can also, if weather permitting, have a dinner, lunch, or breakfast outside. So you are here in the original house, which is now called the Villa Bric-à-Brac. It was named that way because the second owner of the house, when he visited the house, he was Lord Hamilton. He was actually a war veteran, British, of Scottish descent, and he wanted to come to Brittany. And so he came and visited the villa, and he saw those stairs that went in all different directions, and he exclaimed, "What a bric-à-brac!" And this is why the villa was called Bric-à-Brac, and then later it was chosen for when they thought about the name of the hotel, they decided to go with Castelbrac.
Okay.
So you'll see also here the chimney is original, it was renovated, but all of the mosaics here are originals. They depict scenes from the Bible, and on the first floor there's a second one which depicts scenes from the Fables de La Fontaine, which are French moral fables. So yeah, this is a really nice place also to come to. To visit room 18, which is a deluxe room, and it is a 24 square meters. So it directly looks over the Saint-Malo Bay, which you can see right from your bed. And the toilets are separate from the bathroom. They're right over here.
Okay.
With still the mosaic.
Beautiful.
And then on this side we have the bathroom, which again overlooks the sea. So if you do decide to take a boat trip with us, you'll be departing from the pier that's right in front of you. And the cruises are available starting April until October.
All right.
There we go.
Okay, so now we are entering room number 1.
Room number 1. So one thing that is important to know about the hotel is that no room is the same. This is not a standardized hotel. So each room has its own features, its own size, its own little things about it. So you can see here, this is one of the things you'll see in all the rooms, which is the fish, the fish print. And then here you have prestige room with a terrace and a view. All the rooms have a view of the sea. So this is the Belle du Prieuré. This is one of the few rooms in the hotel which has a bathtub within the room. And then on this level you have the toilets on this side.
Okay. With a sea view as well.
With a sea view as well, because why not? And then when you go down the steps, you have another bathroom with this time a shower.
Okay. And what is this room size?
So this room size is 41 square meters.
Okay.
And that does not include the terrace. That's outside, which we can see right after.
And in terms of category?
So the Prestige Terrace is our second best category.
Okay.
The first one is the suite. There's only one of them. And then the right under is the Prestige room with a terrace. Okay. So this is the room. So again, the tiles, you'll see them sort of everywhere. And the fish.
It's very charming and authentic.
Then if you'd like to have a look at the terrace.
Yes, please. It's getting sunny. I mean, for Brittany
This
people.
is the great thing about Breton weather. It changes all day long.
Wow, it's pretty big terrace.
So this is a low tide weather, but then in a couple of hours you'll see that the landscape will be completely different with different colors and different atmosphere. If you don't mind following me this way, So we are going into the suite, which is called Lord Hamilton, after the second owner of the hotel. So this is our biggest room. It is 48 square meters. It has a salon area. Over here you have all the cupboards with the minibar. And so this can be pulled, turned into a bed for 2 children. And here you have a separation between the bathroom, the toilets, and the bathroom this way, which has both a bathtub and a shower, and it opens onto the room, which has a 360 view of both Saint-Malo and the Baie de Prieuré. Right this way. Wow. So it's not a bad view. So at the moment, with the sanitary conditions, what we have put into place is we do room service in the morning and in the evening. In the morning, we serve continental breakfasts in the room between 7 and 10:30.
Okay.
And then in the evening, we work with a collaborator who's located in Dinan, who does catering. And it's called La Cuisine de Mon Père. We've also put tables in the rooms so that you can have breakfast and dinner on those tables.
And is it the only room where we can have a family, or do you have any other communicating room?
So this is a room where you can have 2 adults and 2 children, and we have 2 communicating rooms at the hotel. There's only 2 of them, but they're quite big rooms.
Okay.
So that's good for a family up to, I would say, 4 people, and then maybe a baby as well.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have the outdoor swimming area, which is right here. It's heated at 28 degrees Celsius, and it overlooks the sea, as you can see right there. It's a nice place to come and relax. You can also, if you want to try and get a tan, there's a space right over here. And if you go up those stairs again, you see a door with 2 golden circles, and this is the fitness suite. But I would advise you to actually go for a jog on the road right here. So here is the Chapelle Saint-Gabriel, which was built right before this became a hotel. It was actually the idea of the owners. They wanted to have a spiritual place. They are religious, but they wanted to have a spiritual place that was open to everyone, whether you're religious or not. And it actually overlooks, again, Saint-Malo, the Saint-Malo Bay.
It's always decorated like this?
Yes, it is.
It's very beautiful.
So you can light candles, you can also write wishes. We've actually organized a few proposals here.
Yes.
Which were quite nice, and we've also held 2 wedding ceremonies in this space.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed that. There were a lot of comments. I really appreciate your perspectives and just answering some questions that I had posed in terms of what you want us to focus on. So we'd like to let me just pass this over to Johnny so that we can, I know that everybody's pressed for time, going on to other webinars and doing other things.
Yes.
So Johnny, why don't we leave it to you?
We, as usual, we have the 3 prizes, one given by us and 2 by our partner on location. And
Johnny, it's two gifts. One
from
the Balthazar.
From the Balthazar, yes. So the first prize will be the $300 coupon, and this one goes to Howard Lewis, the pro string. I don't know if he's still here, Howard. Otherwise, we're gonna give it to somebody else. Howard, it doesn't look like he's here. So we will award a $300 coupon to Maria Ortega. Maria is here.
Hey, Maria.
Maria is here. And the first prize of the stay at the Balthazar in Rennes goes to Linda Costa. Linda is here. No, I believe she left. So we need to.
No, Linda's here. She's just muted, Johnny.
Oh, okay. So that's fine. So those are the two prizes. Thank you to everybody, and don't forget the next events.
And I also just want to say thank you, Marie. You did a great job. It was a pleasure having you join us, and you'll get to see Marie again over the next 2 webinars that we do that are going to focus on Brittany. So everybody have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. And Marie, if you would just stay for a little bit, and we'll just sort out a couple of things once everyone is off. So
and
again,
thank you,
thanks
everyone.
everybody.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Spiriti questi. Linda Costa e Colà. There are still some few people still there. Esci, Cristina.